Yes, people, what's good? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the show. Wow, what a 48 hours. I can't even lie. Has it been a mad 48, 24, 12, 5, 2? I don't even know, but I know for a fact the transfer window is hotting right up on day one of the season. I had to bring my boy Flawless on, man. It's been too long. Bro, what are you saying? You good?
Yeah, man, I'm blessed. First and foremost, big up for having me. Much appreciated. Much appreciated being on the platform as well. And like you said, it has been too long. This is the first time we've linked up and the first time we spoke. But like we were saying before the show, in this space, everybody's busy, so that's why you don't see as many collaborations as the supporters would like. But nah, again, thanks for having me. And yeah, crazy 24, 48 hours in the transfer window. So much going on. So much.
Come on, man. You're always welcome, man. And it's been great to get you on and great to hook up. Listen, we've got to talk about it. It's been a mad, mad thing. We're going to talk a little bit of Arsenal and a bit of United, but I wanted to talk about this madness with Caicedo because I suppose you and I are just looking at it and laughing a bit because it don't really concern either of our clubs, but it's rather embarrassing, man. I've got to say. I look at the Harry Kane situation, Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham. I'm seeing all these signings, but this Caicedo one for me, we've already seen Mbappe messing people about. Now Caicedo looks like he's messing people about. Football has just changed so much to when it used to be under the radar. And I was thinking today when I used to go on CFAX and see what was going on, or I used to have to
I
like
remember that
literally
teletext times. I remember them
teletext,
times.
man, was how I knew what was happening. Or one day you'd wake up and your dad would say, I've just read in the papers that Thierry Henry is signing for Arsenal. That was the days that I used to like because there was so much less drama. However, some people do say without that, if it was that old school again, it wouldn't be as fun and dramatic. So that's fair play. But listen,
That's true.
I've got to ask you, bro, this Caicedo thing is a madness. Now, as a United fan, are you smiling because Liverpool look to have been all over the place yet again? They can't get Lavia over the door. They can't get a deal for Jude Bellingham, who's gone to Real Madrid, and now it looks like they're going to miss out on Caicedo, who's going to choose Chelsea. Man, what the
Yeah,
hell's going on?
it's crazy because I don't even know where to start with this situation because it seemed Liverpool were literally haggling over 5 million. It was less than that with Lavia, and the whole conversation has been, oh, Liverpool don't have any money, and then it broke that they offered 100, and then obviously the news broke that they offered 110 million for Caicedo. And I'm in shock. Everybody's in shock. Like I was saying to you before, I was live as the news broke. And it's like Liverpool, yeah, 110 million bid. Brighton have accepted. Medical to happen, etc., etc. It's just like, whoa, where did this come from? Like, because they swapped targets because Chelsea then went in for Lavia, and then obviously the day later, 2 days later, Liverpool then went in for Caicedo. And then the news broke today that Caicedo saying that he doesn't want to go Liverpool. He prefers a move to Chelsea. So now it's on Chelsea to deal with Brighton and get that deal over the line. So yeah, as a Manchester United fan, it's just hilarious from the outside looking in. Other people's mess is always great. It's like if on your street, if a fight breaks out outside, you're gonna be at the curtains to see what's going on. Yeah, you definitely gonna be at the curtains. Like everybody else's drama is much better than your own. Like when you're in it, it's a problem, it's stressful. So for Liverpool and Chelsea fans, I understand them being stressed. Like the roller coaster of emotions from those two fan bases must be absolutely nuts. So yeah, we'll see. But I'm glad he's not going Liverpool. Well, it's not even over yet. I hope he doesn't go Liverpool because I do think he is a quality player as well, and he improves them so much. And that was the conversation Liverpool fans was having was how much he improves them and what he does for Trent and what he does for Robertson and what he does for their midfield as well. So I prefer him at Manchester United, but that's a whole different conversation.
No, I prefer him at Arsenal, and that's a whole different conversation. Listen, I think the player's sick. I honestly believe his levels are unreal. At 21 years old, I've not seen a player
Yes.
like that for a while. And I think that Brighton, by the way, can I just literally bow down to that club because for £4 million they bought this guy last 2 years ago, and they're going to sell him for 110 million. That's on top of Trossard, Ben White, Cucurella, Bissouma,
Yep.
Sanchez. They've got rid of now in the goal.
Sold Mope as
Wow.
well.
Mopey,
That's another
exactly.
one. The
I'm
list goes
thinking
on.
this club are just unreal. And apparently, because I speak to a few Brighton fans that I know, they've said that they've
Mm,
already replaced Caicedo with a couple of players because they knew he was going because
mm.
Arsenal were interested in January. They're like, right, let's get a player now ready for the summer so that he can go. And I'm like, wow, so you've replaced Alexis McAllister and Caicedo already, and you're happy to be taking, which will be close to 150 mil for both. That's a
Quality.
ridiculously good club as far as I'm concerned and how well they're run. But listen, I'm with you. Caicedo, for me, going to Liverpool could potentially put them in a title race. if he goes to Chelsea, Chelsea still needs to do a lot more for me to get anywhere near that.
Yeah.
So I would rather see him go, if out of the two, I'd rather see him go to Chelsea to keep Liverpool away from us, because I honestly believe we're talking about one or two players that Liverpool could be away from a title, but without those one or two, I honestly see them struggling. Like I just don't think they're going to be. And I'm talking about a title race. I don't see them struggling for like eighth, ninth place, but I think
Yeah,
they'll be
yeah,
struggling to get them into a title. So I think that's so important that they get these two positions right. And of course, what I mean by them two positions is a centre half and a defensive midfielder. So if I said to you, flawless, I've just realised,
yeah.
found out that Liverpool are going to get Caicedo and Mark Guehi, me and you are going to be like, damn, like they ain't good,
Yeah.
because they're going to be right up there. If it
Facts.
turns out that they can't fill those positions, or they do fill them with players as a drop off to those, I still think they have a chance of top four, but I don't think they'll go for a title. So I think that they have to get this right. Chelsea, though, are just moving mad, bro. Like, I need to ask you, before we go into Liverpool, I need to ask you about it. If it is
Yeah.
Chelsea he's going to, apparently they bid for Lavia. It looks like they're going to be bidding for Caicedo and Lavia. Like, Chelsea are putting a nice little team together of good age, aren't they?
Yeah, they are in terms of, and yeah, they are putting together a good side. I think Poch is a good manager. I do believe the criticism he receives, some of it's warranted, but a lot of it is over the top. Defensively, I think they'll be fine. When you look at the players they have with Thiago Silva, Badiashile, who I rate highly as well. You got Colwell, who looks good. Obviously, Reece James, if he can stay fit, Gusto, etc. Enzo's in the midfield. And if they do sign Caicedo and Lavia, that's pretty much their defense, midfield side. Goalkeeper is still 50-50 because we know Kepa's not good enough. Problem Chelsea have is attack. And I've said this to Chelsea, and certain Chelsea fans don't like this. When Chelsea fans were talking about, we can finish in the top four and do this and that, I'm like, it's all well and good having a great midfield, having a great defense. Who is scoring your goals? Where is the creativity come from? Yes, you've done fantastic business moving on your Deadwood. You've done fantastic business moving on Mount, who I didn't want at Manchester United, which I'm sure we'll discuss. Moving on Havertz to your club, etc. That's all well and good. Where is the creativity and goals coming from? Chelsea scored 38 Premier League goals last season. I look at their side, yeah, it's promised with Jackson, and Nkunku's now injured. Mudryk has the same amount of Premier League goals as me and you, Dan. Who else they got? Madueke, you know what I'm saying, unproven, Chukwemeka. So it's like, where is your creativity and goals coming from to go and compete in the top four? Go and compete in the top four. Go and compete for a title. That's why I think they'll struggle, because they don't score. I've said it before. Chelsea's attack is Manchester United without Rashford. We scored 20 more league goals than them last season. Rashford got 18 of them. The only difference between our two attacks is legit Rashford from last season. So I think they're doing great business, but they still need a lot more in the offensive areas.
Bro, I'm absolutely with you on Chelsea, right? Because for me, I look at their squad depth, and people talk about, they don't need squad depth because they've only got one game a week. Okay, well, that's fine. But what happens in their one game a week? They get an ACL. Fofana's just
Yes.
broken his bloody ACL, whatever it is again. So, and defensively, they're actually okay. What happens up top if they do that? So I'm with you. They've got Nicholas Jackson, who's unknown. I don't know what he's going to be like. I happen to think he might do half all right, but half all right is probably going to get you potentially 8, 9 goals. Maybe they're going to go in for big. We've got a couple of weeks left. Chelsea might go mad. But at the moment, it seems that Chelsea fans are like, we've got an all right team. And it's like, look, if the window stops now, Chelsea haven't got an all right team. Because
No.
Mudryk, Sterling, Madueke, you talk about Chukwemeka, I'm sure they've all got great talent. They're young, but none of them have really done it. Sterling ain't done it in a Chelsea shirt. Mudryk ain't done it in a Chelsea shirt. Madueke's had a couple of games towards the back end of last season and looks half
Yeah.
okay. Chukwemeka likewise. Up top, they've got Nicholas Jackson and Nkunku, who's now out for about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah,
Fofana,
he's
we've
out to
mentioned,
lose,
who's
yeah.
injured long term. So,
Yeah.
listen, if they add Caicedo and Lavia, their midfield looks sick, because at the moment it's
Solid.
bare. But Enzo, Caicedo, the youngsters you've just mentioned, Andre Santos as well, add Lavia and Caicedo, if they get both of them, they're sorted. But you're right, in up front, I mean, I imagine that comes next, bro. I imagine they're going to look and say, right, what's this Vlahovic deal saying? Can we do something swapped with Lukaku? What's going on with the situation over with Ivan Toney? I imagine they'll look at that towards January. So I think Chelsea are just a madness, if I'm honest. They
They
just
are.
keep to be, and they're talking about FFP again. Like, this club, man, I tell you, they just don't care, do they?
No, they really don't. And it even with the Caicedo situation, it goes to show how much just Todd B and the hierarchy there at Chelsea don't really know what they're doing. You've had ample time to get this deal over the line. The fact that Liverpool have been allowed to potentially come in and steal it is on Chelsea. You're the only team in for him. why is it a complicated situation? And
Yeah.
you're going to end up paying probably more than Brighton initially asked. Like if you wanted to go to 80, 90 million and that was as much as you wanted to go and as much as you wanted to offer, cool. But then you walk away and go get another option. But they have problems up top. And I think what it is with Chelsea fans as well, because they finished 12th last season, the bar's on the floor. So that's why they'll get gassed. I've never seen preseason hyped up so much. The way preseason, you think Nicholas Jackson is the reincarnation of Didier Drogba. The way they're talking about him, like
It's mad, isn't it?
his record goals total is he got 12 league goals at Villarreal last season. Yeah, that's so you're looking for. Let's say he matches that. That's all well and good, but 12 goals by itself is not enough. You mentioned Nkunku being injured, which I also mentioned as well. So their problem is going forward. That's it. It's all in the attacking areas. But Lavia and Caicedo for them that's a very, very good window and improves their midfield a hell of a lot.
Madness, man. Someone's having a laugh in the chat. Kevin Kelly saying Arsenal are back in for Caicedo. Everyone's going in for Caicedo. I guess it's a laugh anyway, Kevin. Show me the source if you believe it is true. But I just watched that, man. What's the source? Listen, let me just quickly touch on Chelsea before we move on to this Caicedo thing with Liverpool. What's realistic for them in your opinion right now? Because we believe the window is still going, so we'll get a couple of players coming in. But what's looking good for Chelsea for you, bro?
I'd say top 6. Because you gotta remember where they was at. Like people say, oh, it's Chelsea, like 6th place ain't good enough. 6th place is a huge improvement on last season where you finished 12th. You won 11 league games and scored 38 league goals in a 38 game Premier League season. So if you finish in the top 6, I think that's a good season. Poch to implement a system, improve the team overall, improve you defensively even further, definitely improve you offensively, and start working with these youngsters. Because you mentioned all the youngsters they signed. Poch has a track record of improving younger players, so that's what they need to do, is improve those younger players and tap in to all that potential and just be a better team overall. Because I don't think they can be worse than last season. So I would say for them, I'll go top 6. You got one game a week, which you mentioned, and look at the 2 domestic cups as well, in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup.
Listen, I think personally, Pochettino could go and do Champions League and is in top 5. I think that could be an option. I don't know that they will do it, but I think that's what they'll be aiming for, is Champions League football. Whether they'll get it or not, flawless. This league's nuts, man. There's about 8 teams at the moment. I can't really tell you who's going to come where, right? I know Man City are probably going to win it, but after that, whose guess is it? So for me, I think Pochettino will look to aim at that. And I think winning a trophy would be good for him because it's something that he's never done in England, and everyone I'm a bit like you. I think there's a coach there. I don't think he's hyped up to be this world-class elite manager that Tottenham thought he was, but I do think he's a very good coach. Yes. And I personally feel like something that he could do to shut a few people up is to win something. The problem you've got is you can't always win with those people because then they'll just say, oh, well, look at the money he spent. He's won because he spent the money.
But everybody spends, you know why that's an empty argument? Because everybody who wins trophies spends money. Anyone who wins trophies consistently spends money. Pep spends money consistently. And Klopp, they've been the 2 most successful managers in the Premier League in recent years. So it's kind of like, of course, you have to spend money to compete. What people mistake is, it doesn't guarantee success. Just because you spend X amount doesn't guarantee success. It just means you need it to be successful. It's a base.
Yeah, it's facts. And it was funny because I think it was Terry who put something on Twitter today. It was basically Klopp complaining about oil money clubs, so we can't compete. Did you see that? And then the next clip is like, who spent what? And like Liverpool has spent more. And I'm just, don't get me wrong, right? I like Klopp, but I think he's probably one of the most saltiest, moaniest managers out there for me. Like, when it goes right, he's fine. He wants praise. But when it goes wrong, he tries to complain about everything and everybody else. And I hate managers like that. Yeah. You know, it's frustrating.
Klopp knows what he's doing, though. He knows what he's doing. He knows it takes attention away from his team and takes attention away from poor results. Because they had a shocking season last season. And I think because of Chelsea, because of City winning the treble, people don't speak about it enough. Because that season leading up, they were 2 games short of a quadruple. And then finished 5th, winning no trophies after spending more money. But people do not talk about this because it's Klopp and he's the media darling and he doesn't spend money. Even though when you look at their side, they don't spend the amount, say, a Manchester United spend or a Chelsea spend, but they spend enough. Don't get it mistaken. Alisson was money. Van Dijk was money. Gakpo was money. Nunes was money. And you bought all these players, obviously not all in the same window, but you bought all these players and failed. You went from chasing four trophies to chasing top four and finished fifth behind Newcastle with Eddie Howe and behind a new Eric Ten Hag at Manchester United. But like I said, people don't talk about it. Let that have been us. Let that have been Manchester United, and we were chasing a quad and then went and spent money and then finished fifth and was out of all competitions. Because the whole conversation was they're the closest to Manchester City and everyone had them second. And people don't talk about it enough. But like I said, other factors vary into that, i.e. Chelsea being as bad as they were and obviously City winning the treble as well. But he gets away with a lot. But like I said, media darling.
Listen, it's one of those, man. It's one of those. Big up THFC. Says afternoon, Dan. I just got off the phone from the Samaritans. Not really. We move on. Agree with you on Klopp as bad as a moaner as anyone. He gets away with it because he comes across as a nice guy. Big up everyone in the chat, man. Make sure you do me a favor. Make sure you smash a like on this one and subscribe, please. We're on the road to 12k people. That's our next target. So come on, man. Make sure you do me a favor. Go over to That's Me Flawless. Make sure you're following him on socials and Sarcasm City TV as well, and get the subs up there. Listen, people, we're gonna move on to talk a little bit about our own clubs. Let's talk about Man United first, actually, because there was a lot of rumours about Harry Kane right at the start of the window, and I think they were kind of shot down by the fact that Daniel Levy was not going to do business with Manchester United, even if they were going to be putting in hundreds of millions of pounds. So you went for Højlund instead, which, to be fair, was quite a lot of money and quite a risk, but I think there's potential and talent there. I looked at his goals and I looked at his play, and I think he's a very good footballer. I think that the 9 goals for Atlanta in 19 games, I think it was, people will look at and say, you know, there's a massive, massive risk. But I kind of think every signing's a risk, really. You don't know what it's going to be like until it starts to happen. I think Gary Neville made a really good point on the overlap, though, Flawless, and it was like Onana and Højlund, they're relying on De Gea and the centre-forward replacement. And it's like, that's a lot to put a lot of risk on in those two vital positions. And I kind of had a chat with the lads on my show the other night, and I said, I get that there's 2-3 weeks left of this window, but I really don't see the strength in depth with Manchester United. And the reason I keep doing this is because everyone keeps coming at me saying, you ain't going to beat Man City, you ain't got no strength in depth. So I'm like, okay, I agree with that. I think we're 2 or 3 short still, right? Still Arsenal, right? But Man United ain't got strength in depth. Chelsea haven't even got 11 yet. Liverpool don't have strength in depth. We've just spoken about it. So why is it different? Like, the same energy needs to be applied to these other clubs. So I said that Manchester United, at the moment, for me, right, look a little short. And I think that if you don't get any more players in, which you're going to, but if the window was to shut and the window was to shut for Arsenal, at the moment you're a centre-back away, injury away from Lindelof coming back into the side unless you sign someone. In midfield, if Casemiro does get injured, who actually plays in your holding midfield role? Then you've got wide issues on the right. You've got 2 players that for whatever reason can't seem to get a run in this team by scoring goals, and at the moment you've got Martial up top because Højlund's injured. So for me, there's a 4 or 5 players there that I think United still need to look at. Now, I imagine you will get some of those, but I wanted to get your opinion on that, man. Is that me being harsh, or is that just true?
No, that's you being logical. But the reason why you can be logical about it is because you're not emotionally attached to Manchester United. So you can look at it, even though you'll have your biases being, you know what I'm saying, being an Arsenal fan, you'll look at it logically and go, right, this is where Manchester United are short. Like, forget my Arsenal allegiance. Look at the team. Everything you just named there in regards to being a centre-back injury away from Lindelof coming back into the side. If Casemiro gets injured, who we have up top. Even strength in depth, I think you're being kind. Our 11's still short. And I've been saying this. And people say, oh, well, you spent X amount. Like I said just earlier on the show, just because you spend X amount doesn't guarantee nothing. Our team was well away. We was far away. People forget when Ten Hag came in, we was legit coming off our worst ever season, where we finished 7th. This goes to show how much Ten Hag doesn't rate this team. He's replaced the entire spine pretty much in 12 months. That's how bad the team is. When you look at the initial spine he had and look at our team now, you mentioned it in regards to the goalkeeper and the centre forward. Aaron, when he came here, it was De Gea, it was Maguire and Lindelof, it was McTominay and Fred, it was Bruno, it was Martial. None of those are there anymore. Even Bruno's still there, but even with Mason Mount, you could see Bruno maybe playing wide right. That's how bad he thinks his team is. This is why every window he's been here, this summer, January, the initial summer, he signed a central midfielder because that's how far away we are from where we need to be. And are we heading in the right direction? Absolutely. I like the window. You know what I'm saying? I like the window. I just seen that in the chat. I just seen that in the private chat. But yeah, I like the window we had, but we still need more. Similar to what I was saying about Chelsea, and I was saying this to Manchester United fans try to get at me as a United fan. They say, "Oh, we can challenge, we can win." Who's scoring our goals? Who's creating? We scored 58 league goals last season, and all we've added is Mason Mount, who has 8 open to play assists in 4 years, and his highest total is 12. Every other time he's been in single figures. United fans don't like to hear this, but this is the facts. Take Rashford out of the equation. Would anybody bet money on any of our attacking players getting double-figure goals in the Premier League? I wouldn't. Sancho and Anthony. Garnacho I leave because he was young, but the rest of them, I would not get Bruno, Mount, no. So why all of a sudden are we going to challenge? Like I said, I like Ten Hag. I think he's a very competent manager. Exceeded all my expectations in the first season. But I look at it and I go, we are still short. And in the areas you're talking about, as much as I want Amrabat, cool. To me, we still need another creative midfielder because who is creating? Like, I'll give you Bruno, even though I have my thoughts on Bruno. I think he's mad overrated. But all right, Bruno will create. Who else? Rashford will create to an extent. Where's our assist coming from? I look at our team and our squad and I go, did I fall asleep and we signed 4 or 5 players? Because I think Manchester United fans, not all, some vastly overrate this team. And then when we fall short, they'll be the first to go, I can't believe we fell short because you overrate this. I'm fully aware of where we're a top 4 side, currently as constructed. And the reason why I think we'll probably finish third isn't even because of our greatness. I don't rate the teams around us like that. Take City out of it. I think Liverpool, even without Caicedo, they're the second best team in the league. You lot, which we'll get into. I think you lot did great business apart from Kai Havertz. I think it's an awful signing. I still don't get that whatsoever.
Yeah, man.
And I think it'll be detrimental to what you lot going on. Chelsea, we just spoken about. Who else is there? Newcastle, all right, maybe they'll be around. But yeah, with Manchester United, you're not being harsh. That's just fans looking at it emotionally, letting emotions cloud their logic when they look at the side. Because I always ask United fans the same question. All right, you need 90 plus goals in a Premier League season to go win it. Because forget this challenging stuff. Can't stand this. I'm not here to be the bridesmaid. This whole, let's the accolade, let's go and challenge. Can we win? If we're in the race, let's be in the race to win it. Whereas if Manchester City are not at it, we're there to capitalize. But this whole thing of finishing second, people glorifying finishing second. Like, what is, no. Aim to win it. So I'm looking at next season. I'm like, all right, Ten Hag. That's when we have to challenge and legitimately win. But now we're still short. I think our ceiling is what we did last season in terms of third place, challenge for the domestic cups. We reached both finals, winning one of them. Champions League, get out of the group stages, try to get to the quarterfinals with a favourable draw and see where we're at. That's my thoughts on it. Would you?
Yeah, man. That's literally for me. That's really realistic, and I love the fact that you said you've got this. Hating to challenge, hating to come second. That's because you and I grew up on Arsenal and United winning things. And then unfortunately the standards have slipped, bro. And unfortunately now it's all about getting into the top 4 and trying to look at progress and processes and all this. Like, how about just win? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How about just actually win some trophies? Because, you did that last time, and
Facts.
fair play to you, man. You got your and let's get rid of this guy, man. He's driving me insane. There we go.
Yeah, cool. Do your thing, man. You know what it's like. Big up everyone in the chat, though.
In the chat, yeah. Big up the chat room, man. Yeah. So listen, I'm with you. Let me go through your what you think of your window so far, because you've got Mount. I'd like you to discuss him, Højlund, and of course you've got Onana. Now there's a lot of links with Todibo as well from Nice, centre half. And Amrabat is the other guy that people are saying that you could be getting. But I believe that I think it's Fiorentina, not Fiorentina, he's at Fiorentina, Atletico Madrid and somebody else that also, I think it might be Juventus coming in for him as well. So I'd like to get your thoughts on that. If that's looking like your window, what's that kind of looking like to you?
In terms of Amrabat and Todibo added into the free players he signed as well, that's a good window because it's improving in areas that needed to be improved upon. De Gea, it was time to go. He had to be moved on. And again, that was another thing very similar to what I was just talking about in regards to people let emotions cloud their logic. The market determines your worth. Because I said when De Gea leaves, or if he left when he was here, I said he's not going to another top European club. There's a reason he's left. he's still without a football club. If he was as good as everyone was making out, as the De Gea fans were saying he was, why is he without a club? Because if Casemiro leaves tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of clubs in for him instantly. He's going to get snapped up that day. So the fact that he's still without a club now tells you where he's at. Onana, I like, haven't watched in depth, but I talked to a couple in the Milan fans. Well, talked to one in the Milan fan, talked to others who are on my channel who watch more European football. They can't speak highly enough of him. Modern day goalkeeper, I like it. Like in regards to playing out from the back, because that's now a must. It's not a luxury to have that. And now we can play a higher line. Cool, Onana, I like that. Good price as well. Very, very good price to get him. Someone Ten Hag knows, and I like Ten Hag signings. I trust him in that sense. When it's a player in particular outside the Premier League, I'm not watching players outside the Premier League week in, week out to make a fair assessment. I can give you an idea. And I always ask the same question when Manchester United are linked to players, to people who know more about the player than I do. What's his profile? I always say, who's he like? Forget skill set. What's he like style-wise? And from Onana, I do like. In regards to Højlund, same. It's an athlete's game, football now. It's an athlete's game, in particular in the Premier League. I always say, is the player pace and power? That's always the base I look for, and then look for the rest. His pace and power. I heard he's electric, 6'3", decent in the air, technically good. Cool, 21 at the age where he can improve. Sounds good to me. So I was all for the Højlund deal as well. Decent price as well. Because if we were going to go and get somebody who was certified to go get 20, 25 goals, you're looking probably double that. If you're looking at Osimhen, for example, because there isn't many strikers out there who are certified good man who you go. He's a guy who's getting me 25, 30, 35 goals a season. So I have no issue with the Højlund one. Mount, horrific signing. I think it's awful. Absolute terrible signing. I was against it when we was linked to him as the deal was going through, and still now, because I just don't get. I get what he offers off the ball. Cool, no issue. I understand where Ten Hag's trying to go. He's trying to play that high energy, high pressing, cover every blade of grass. Cool, no issue with that whatsoever. But go and get the best possible players for that profile. Because Mount, as you know, I've watched a lot of Chelsea. I've seen him at his very best. I've seen him at his very worst. And even at his very best, he's very good. Very good is not good enough for Manchester United. And like I said, he has 8 open play assists in 4 years. That tells you the level he's at. It's just not that good. I think that's an awful signing. In regards to Todibo or a centre-back, which we need, I like that because it'd be an improvement on Lindelof, backing up Varane. Amrabat, we do need another midfielder in there as well. And I like Amrabat in terms of his profile. He's dogged, closed down, technically decent. So in terms of minus Mount, I like the window we've had. We still need more and would like more, but I know this is not ideal world, but we're building.
Yeah, you are building, man, and that's facts. And, you know, I totally agree with that last bit. And it's mad for me because if I look at Arsenal, people say to me about strength in depth all the time, as I mentioned, right? But I could name Arsenal's strength in depth 11. So let's just say, for example, we got Real Madrid on the Tuesday, and we need to play our second string team on the Saturday because we're going all out for Real Madrid. Now, I'm not really for that. I don't like doing that, but let's just say that we're going to in this scenario. I would know what that backup team would be. I know that we're getting David Raya in, so it'll be him or Ramsdale in goal. I know our backup right back is Tomiyasu and our backup left back is Tierney. I know that our backup centre backs at the moment aren't now Holding and Kivior. It would probably be Timber and Kivior or Ben White and Kivior. Then you look at what's happening in central midfield. You know Jorginho is going to be holding. You know it's going to be one of Smith Rowe or Havertz in there if Erdegaard and Rice aren't there. For me, a little bit weak, but at least I know what it's going to be. And then the front three will obviously be Trossard, Smith Rowe probably left, and then up top you've got either Eddie and Nketiah, or you can go with Balogun, who's probably going to go. But with Manchester United, I think I would struggle, bro. I think I would struggle to know what your backup 11s would be because Fred and McTominay are going, Maguire's going. There's players that are down. Obviously, De Gea's now gone. So you've got your backup goalkeeper, who I believe is Tom Heaton or Dean Henderson if he stays.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I mean, I know your fullback. Yeah,
well,
I know your
fullbacks. To show, though,
fullbacks.
how bad the team is that Ten Hag's also trying to sign not only a first team spine, backup spine. There's a reason he's trying to sign second choice goalkeeper. Yeah. He's trying to sign a second choice centre back. Our other second choice centre back is Luke Shaw, who was a left back. That's how bad it was. Our backup central midfielders, if we do sign Amrabat, would be Amrabat and Eriksson. two new signings as well. Like this goes to show he may or may not sign a striker, but we've got Sancho in the false nine, who he's played there as well. That goes to show how bad our backup 11 is. Like, yeah, you're right in terms of strength and depth, because we don't even have strength in the first team, in my opinion. We still need more. That's how much
Yeah.
we need. That's how much we need to improve. Ragnick was right when he said open heart surgery, and we're seeing that. That's why I'm loving the departures, because all these players
Yeah,
can
man.
go. I've said this time and time again. I would push the vast majority of these players off a cliff, hypothetically, people, not literally. It's time to move them on. Not good enough for where we're trying to go to. So that's why I'm glad the Maguire you mentioned and Freds and McTominay's could potentially be leaving. Move these man. Martial's been linked with a move away today and yesterday. Same with Eric Bailly. Tellers is already gone. Henderson, who you mentioned, could be on his way out. Move these players on. Not good enough for where we're trying to go.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm with you. And you're kind of in the position that we were in a couple of years ago. We were clearing all the deadwood out. We've still got some deadwood to go, man. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of players that we still need to let go. There's rumours that Balogun is probably going to go. And then obviously we've got Lokonga. Patino's now gone on loan to Swansea. Tavares, Cedric, Holding, Runnison, Pepe. That's like eight.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? That we just got
Jeez.
to find a place for. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Jeez.
there's a lot of players, man. Otherwise, we're going to be drowned in them and not be able to register them. So, yeah, it's mad. Even if you get, and you're not going to get a lot for that lot, by the way. We're going to be lucky to get a few million for some of those players. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be realistic with it.
Yeah.
Let's move to Arsenal. I'd love your thoughts on it, man, because a lot of people are talking about it was a fluke last season. It's not going to happen again. Back in the Champions League, it's going to kill us. Going to struggle to get in the top four now. Blah blah blah. I listen to some of that and I take some of it on board. I think some of it's bitterness. I think some of it's a little bit of jealousy. They don't like the fact that we've done
Of
well.
course.
A lot of that happens. But I do think the signings we've made have been good. I'm with you on the Kai Havertz thing. I'd love to get your take on Arsenal's incomings. I still think we're a little short, even when I was doing that towards the front areas. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
well, I can see where we're still short. What do you make of us going into this one, man?
In regards to I think you've done very similar to our window. I think you've done very good business, minus Kai Havertz. So I think Timber, good signing. Fully understand why. I would have took him at Manchester United, obviously, when we was linked with him, but I fully understand why Arteta's gone in for him. Can play right back, can play centre back, can play central midfield as well as a defensive midfielder. So it makes sense why you signed Timber. You can see that from a technical aspect, a physical aspect, fits fully in and doesn't cost a lot either. So it made full sense. Rice, even though I think you overpaid for him, I get the signing. I think he's a good player who could become a very good player, and I think he'll improve because one, he's getting on the ball much more than he would at West Ham. You're gonna have much more of the ball, and he has better players around him than well. So Rice also makes sense. Only one, like I said, that didn't make sense is Kai Havertz, because he doesn't improve your first team, and I don't even think he improves your squad. I don't think he's backup. And like when you initially went in for him, I was like, I laughed because that was after the Mount situation. So I was getting
Yeah.
laughed at. United fans were getting laughed at about Mount. And then you lot signed Kai Havertz, and I couldn't believe it. And then I was like, all right, they're signing Havertz to what? Play up top. Then I heard you're planning to play in midfield. And I said, he's even worse there. Like, people, shout out to James Redmond who said this. Fans started to become defense lawyers of players they're not fans of. Because Kai, nobody, I never see no Arsenal fan say, what we need at the end of the season when it ended was Kai Havertz. If you would have said that, your chat would have lit you up. If you would have came on the stream, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the season, and when you know what Arsenal need to go forward and improve and challenge Manchester City is Kai Havertz. Don't get it whatsoever. And the fact that you could play him central midfield, I think, is really detrimental to the team. I don't know where he's not your best central midfielder. He's not top two, and he's not top two in strikers. I don't think he's top two in tens, and we know he's not a wide player. So where does he play? But I think overall you've done good business. And you surprised a lot of people, including myself last season, in what you did and the manner in which you did it. Obviously the early parts of the season, and then you did fall away afterwards.
Where do you stand on this pressure for Mikel Arteta in terms of nearly £700 million spent now in 4.5 years? Nothing to show for it with this team, obviously an FA Cup back in 2020. Because there's a lot of neutral fans that are sort of saying Arsenal have got to do something this season. And I agree with that. I think we do have to win something this season. Well, I think we have to finish with silverware. You know, Manchester United did that last season, and that kind of got them into a position where they could say at least it was a respectful season. I think for me this season we have to be doing that at the end of the season with something. Otherwise we're going to be looked at again as spending another £300 million and having nothing to show for it. So what's your thoughts, bro?
Agreed, definitely Arteta's under pressure because he messed up majorly, not just him, but it's on him and the players last season. Arsenal should have won the Premier League. Without doubt, from the position you was in and the situation you was in, you should have won the Premier League. Like, of course, yes, you're being chased down by Manchester City. You weren't favourites at the start of the season. But from that position, having at the halfway point, I believe you had a record points total at that point. It was or something ridiculous like that. Should have won it. Was on top of the league for however many days. You have to win it. And the manner in which you lost it also puts more pressure on. Because the players and the manager balled it. Like, Jesus came, because that was the conversation. And Jesus came out and said, oh, we were nervous. For those that don't know, nervous and bottling are two branches of the same tree. It's the same tree, people. Like, that's just legit what it is. And then also as well, Arteta saying, was it in the GQ magazine when he did an interview saying, oh, he didn't know if it, I'm paraphrasing something along the lines of, I didn't know if I was good enough to take Arsenal forward. So it's like, that tells you all you need to know, that he's feeling the pressure. So yes, after 700 million spent, after improving a team that did what you did last season, he has to win something. And I'm not even saying the Prem of the champs. I'm saying win something. You can't spend 700, 800 million and not win anything. And people always say, oh, well, City are there. City are a phenomenal team, phenomenal manager. But that doesn't mean you can't win trophies. We've seen Liverpool win trophies when they've been here. Manchester United have won a trophy, like you mentioned, when they've been here as well. Chelsea have won trophies in that time. Arsenal have won, I believe, in Pep's time as well. I believe you lot have picked up an FA Cup. I could be wrong in that. So definitely under immense pressure to deliver. You have to. And again, like I said, after last season, where you lot should have won the league, I think that's left a lot of Arsenal fans like, we fucked up. Because we're not going. Even if you lot win the league this season coming, it won't be as plain sailing as that. Because that season was pretty much perfect for you lot for the first 2/3. Like, mine is getting beat. Obviously, you lost to us at Old Trafford. I think you lost to Everton in like the early year. I think New Year. I think it was January, February. Over the night, you lot were pretty much
game,
had an immense record home, like so, and was playing great football. So yes, he's definitely under pressure, and you lot have to win something, in my opinion.
It's interesting what you say there about Manchester City being around, because I don't remember Arsenal fans having the same energy in '99 when you did the treble. Because in 2000, I was going for the title. I wasn't going second place. It is, lads. Like, Man United are in town. They just won a treble. We ain't doing that. Well, that energy's got to come back. We've got to start raising the standards. And do you know what? I actually liked what Mikel Arteta said about he considered quitting this summer. And I don't like it because I want him gone. I like it because that means he's disappointed and that he's failed. That, for me, is him raising the standards high. And some of the fan base could actually learn something from Mikel Arteta there, because the fan base are all saying, keep him, give another season. Even if he doesn't win something, give another season. And then he doesn't win something again, give him more money. He'll get it right eventually, even if it takes him 10 years. I think for me, he's like, hang on a minute, I tried once, I bottled it, and I considered going. Because for me, that's the standard of what he's looking at achieving. And I just think it's funny that there's a certain section of our fan base that absolutely love the fact that if you give people patience and time, it will come good. We've tried a youth project. This is our third one now, Flawless. This is our third youth project. People think this is a new thing. We did it with Fabregas and Van Persie in 2008. Okay, we got to a Champions League semi-final with a team that's younger than this one now currently. Okay, then what happened was they all got sold. Then we got to the Wilshere and Ramsey era. Do you remember that when they were all lined up? Wilshere, Ramsey, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Kieran Gibbs, Carl Jenkinson, all signing thing. That was Youth Project 2.0. That didn't work. They all ended up leaving, and that to be fair, they all ended up not doing much at Arsenal, if I'm honest, apart from maybe a couple of them. Now we're into Youth Project 3.0 with Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Saliba. The list goes on. We have to do it. We have to win something here. And my question will be, when we do it, wow, fantastic. Like, youngest manager, youngest team, won the league, deserves their flowers. What happens if it goes wrong? Do we tear it up and start again? Because for me, if Arteta is the nearly there guy and isn't the guy to take us across the line, what decision do we make? Because this season, for me, if we're looking at the window that we've had, there's not going to be many more excuses for Mikel Arteta left. Yeah. So do we do what Liverpool do and say, do you know what, Brendan Rodgers, you've done an unbelievable job putting us into a title race. You're not quite ready to take us across there, but Jurgen Klopp is. We're going to get this guy into winner stuff. Do Arsenal do that with another manager that's proven to be winning, like a Thomas Tuchel, Diego Simeone? Everyone moans that, oh, don't want Simeone. He plays a boring style of football. Yeah, okay, let's, whatever then. Thomas Tuchel, whoever, somebody who wins stuff, yeah?
What are you doing?
Ancelotti, someone with
Why
a
not an
CV
Ancelotti?
like this, not
Huh?
like this, yeah, is what I'm saying. Or do we go for the next Vincent Company? Or do we go for a De Zerbi? Or so, this is the thing I'm going to have. So for me, I want Arteta to succeed so we don't even have to think about that crap, right? I
Yeah.
want this to work badly. I've been really, really doubtful that it was going to, and I still haven't been proven right that he's going to win us a title. But I hope he does this year, man. I just think for me, I look at the two squads at the moment and I still feel that we're short. I understand that Manchester City have lost Mahrez,
Yeah.
Gundogan, but do you remember last season when Liverpool fans were getting gassed because they lost Zinchenko, Jesus, and Sterling and they went and won a treble? Do you know what
Yep.
I'm saying? Pep knows what
Facts.
he's doing, man.
Yeah.
So
Perhaps fully.
that's
Yeah.
where I am with Arsenal, bro.
No, and that's a fair assessment in regards to saying Arteta needs to deliver, and it's okay, like I say, people to have like standards, but don't have unrealistic standards. Like you have your expectations. So I think this team can do this, of course. And for City, for example, if they win, if they get they crack 100 points, they're the best team in the league. If they're at their best, nobody's catching them. But what you have to be is if they are not at their best, you capitalize, and that's what Arsenal did last season, and that's why Arsenal should have won the league. So that's why. So I fully get what you're saying in regards to Arsenal, and yeah, it's make or break because you've had your time now. And just because you're trying to build a project, you can still win trophies in the meantime. You can still go pick up Carabao Cups, FA Cups, etc. Maybe try and pinch a league here and there. Go far in the Champions League, like you mentioned with the young Arsenal side that got to the semi-finals. You still have success. Just because it's a project doesn't mean you accept no success. There still needs to be success within a project. And then it gets to a point where it's like, okay, you have everything you need. You've spent X amount. This is your team. That's the main
Mm.
point with Arteta. This is now his team in his image. There has to be results. And if Arsenal don't win anything and Arsenal fans want him gone, I fully understand why. Because it would have been what, 700, 800 million spent with nothing to show for it. Can't have
Mm.
nothing to show. Even if he had a Carabao FA Cup in there, you go, okay, that could potentially be a start that kicks us on to go and do such and such. But you can't spend that amount, sign all these players, actually have a good side, because I think everyone's in agreement, Arsenal fans and most rival fans, that Arsenal actually have a good team. So therefore, you have a good side. Why are we not winning anything? Either the
Mm.
side's not up to it or the manager's not up to it or a combination of both. Well, that falls on you. If whether you're good enough or whether the team's not good enough, you've signed off on these players. Obviously, there's other factors in terms of
Mm.
tactics and formations and injuries. All these things can happen. But eventually, you have to win.
And listen, bro, there's context as well, right? Because for me, if Mikel Arteta this season loses the Premier League on the last game of the season,
Yeah,
and we go out in the Champions League final against the European elite Real Madrid,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
then there's context, right?
There's
There's
context,
context.
exactly.
If
Yes, yes.
Yeah, if we go and get dumped out the Champions League group stages, and then we can't get past Brighton and Leicester in the FA Cup and Carabao Cup,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be calling for this guy. I'm sorry, I'm not
That's
gonna
a
sit
different
there and say
conversation.
praise him. He's got a good window. Let's give him another window next season, and we finish in the top four again with nothing
Yeah.
to show for it. I believe there's going to be pressure on Mikel Arteta, and I think it would be right for some Arsenal fans to say, "Where are we going here?" Now,
Yeah.
I hope that don't happen, man. I hope we win something and we're saying, right, this is it. Winning mentality. Let's go do it now. Mikel's the man. I hope we can go through it. There's going to be that, though, man. There is going to be that pressure on him for sure. So this is a big season for Mikel, man. Big season. So I'm looking forward to seeing what
Huge season
happens.
for
And
him.
yeah, massive, man. Listen, let's before we wrap up, man. Let's do a little bit of predictions from you, man, because I'm not going to do mine, because I'm going to do mine on a separate show tonight. But I wanted to ask you let's just do a couple. Let's just throw a few at you, right? Let's throw a
Yeah.
few at you. In order, what would you go for as a top seven? I can't do six anymore because there's this
Top
conference
seven.
league thing, man. So, what's your right now,
Top
as it
seven.
stands right now?
As it
Because obviously
stands right
things
now.
could change, can't they, in a
Ele-
couple of weeks? But
11th of
what are
August
you saying?
2023, people. Just to say,
There we
it's
go.
11th of August 22, because a lot can change in the window. Players can be signed, players can leave. But currently, right now, City win the league, unfortunately. Can't stand these, man. But they going to win the league. All this shit about, oh, they're weaker and da-da-da. And then, all right, cool. Remember that last season? Haaland makes them worse. I remember that
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah. Freaking, that's a nightmare. City, I think City will finish first. Liverpool second, and that was before Caicedo. I think Liverpool had the second best side when I look at it. Here's where it's tough between third and fourth, because I think it's between our two clubs. I think it's between Manchester United and Arsenal. And I go Manchester United. I think Havertz is such a detriment to your team. I think if he's starting
Wow.
week in, week out, I think he's that much like. For instance, if because Jesus is injured, if he's starting up top consistently, you'll beat Forest. But I'm saying consistently, and that's how much I don't rate him. So I go Manchester United third, Arsenal fourth, fifth I go Newcastle. Spurs are the unknown because I don't know a lot about Ange Postecoglou. And is Kane stay? Are we counting Kane staying or going in that?
He's gonna
Because he
go,
is
man.
currently still there. He's good. It's going to go. But there was talks of him not going. But there's the unknown with Postecoglou, even though I think they've done good business. Like, I like Madison. I don't know enough, a lot about the other players they signed. Basuma will be back in the mix as well. Chelsea at Chelsea. But they do have... this is tough.
It's hard, isn't it? You got Chelsea, Spurs, Villa, and Brighton.
Yeah. I go Chelsea 6. I go Spurs 6, Chelsea 7th.
Ooh,
Go with
okay,
that as the top
okay.
7. Yeah, I go with that as the top 7.
Fair play,
That's my
man. Fair
7.
play. Just quickly, top scorer. I guess you go Haaland.
It's Haaland, unfortunately. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Haaland.
yeah,
It's Haaland.
yeah. Fair play, man. Fair play. Who's looking for the drop for you? I know that we haven't kicked a ball yet, but what would you say?
Yeah,
Bottom
I'm,
three.
I'm not even gonna lie. I've really not followed what the clubs down the bottom end of the
Mm,
table have done in terms of business. So it'd be unfair of me to say. I know a lot of people mention
mm.
Luton. I don't know anything about. I've not followed Luton. I heard Sheffield United got rid of a lot of their players who did
Yeah,
well for them last season. But yeah, I can't even comment on them because I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you and disrespect your platform and say, yeah, this that I've not followed what they're doing in terms of business, so I can't answer
fair play, man.
unfortunately.
Nah, fair play, my bro. And the last one, who do you think will be so far? Who do you think will go down as best signing of the window?
Whew, that's a
Because there's
good
been some
question.
mad business,
Whew,
big
that's a
business
good question.
in terms of like the Rice and Caicedo. If it gets done
Yeah,
at big money, you've got smart business. I think that's been done with particularly the likes of Alexis McAllister, James Maddison.
yeah,
Those type of signings, I think, have been decent as well. Um,
that's a
I
good
think, yeah,
question.
there's been some really good ones for me, man.
You know what I say? I
Go on.
think whoever gets Lavio, 'cause I think people are sleeping on how good he is, and
Yeah, I
especially
like
the
him, man.
price he's at. I'm a big fan of Lavio, huge fan. And I think if someone gets him for 50 M's, even though Liverpool might not now get him for 50 M's, but whether he goes Liverpool or Chelsea, I think that could be the steal of the window. In particular, if he goes
Mm.
Liverpool, because that's how highly I rate him, and for that price. So I'd probably go, yeah, I'd probably go Lavia, I would say, off the top of my head, when he moves. But
Mm.
in terms of players who have already moved, trying to think, I think Timber will do very well for you lot. I think that's it
Mm.
is. I'm trying to think more so of price in terms of the big money.
Of
'Cause I think
course.
Vardio will do fine at Manchester City, but he's gone for big money. But I think Vardio will fit right in with what they've got going on because I'm a big fan of him as well in terms of a talent. So yeah,
Yeah, I think he's
it's
sick,
good.
man. I've got a lot of time
Yeah,
for him. I think
yeah,
Guardiola
big fan of Vardio.
And Ruben Diaz. Oh man, nothing's getting
Yeah,
past that City back line,
yeah.
is it? With them two at
Facts,
the back.
facts, facts,
Christ.
facts.
Edison's Golden Glove for my bit. I'll tell you that now. Listen, big up to you, man, for coming on. Thank you so much, my bro. And we'll definitely do this again.
Yeah, man.
How can
Anytime.
Nice one, man. How can people follow you, bro?
Yeah, people, you see it right there on the screen. That's me, Flawless, on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you follow me. And then at Sarcasm City TV. Well, not at Sarcasm City TV. Sarcasm City TV on YouTube and on the Twitch, people. Live every day on both platforms. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow the Twitch. Obviously, cover, not just mainly it's Manchester United on Sarcasm City TV YouTube, but also cover the rest of the big six as well. So Arsenal, you got City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, rest of the Premier League as well. And then on Twitch, other sports as well. We follow people. So you got NBA if you're a fan of that. F1 show over there on the Twitch as well. Boxing shows over there. Fan calling shows. Pro clubs FIFA 23. So much going on. So always just check out the upcoming live stream schedules on the YouTube and on the Twitch as well, people. And yeah, man, Dan, big up for having me, man. Much appreciated. Enjoyed this a lot.
Bro, likewise, man. You're always welcome on, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. And make sure you go over there, people, and subscribe to Flawless and watch his content. He's got sick content, great content creator,
Big up,
and
man.
he'll be welcome back on here anytime. Make sure you do us a favor, people. I'm going to be back a little bit later, so make sure you join me. I'm going to be doing my predictions before the Burnley Man City game. So let's see what happens there. That's going to be a good one tonight. Football is back. The season starts
Football's
tonight,
back.
people. Make sure you get your fantasy for Premier League football teams in, those that do it, because everyone's now looking at, oh no, rush. So let's see. Big up. Make sure you smash a like on this. Get us towards 12k, which is our next target. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you later. Take care. Up the Arsenal. Latest, people.
Big up.